there and welcome to another Star Wars Shatterpoint Battle Report. This one's going to be round 2 from our local grand tournament, and we have Lee here as a guest, and he was the TO for the tournament, so let you say hi.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me on. It's a genuine pleasure to be here on your stream. Again.
Again, yes. Glad to have you back, and in person, because miscommunication is great, but we're making it work.
This was part of the plan.
Yes.
It was always part of the plan.
All part of the plan, yes. But because we have you here, thought I obviously participated in the event, and you hosted a great and smoothly run event. So I just wanted to give you, I guess, first an opportunity to say anything that kind of stood out about the event, or any thoughts about running almost 20-person grand tournament.
Yeah, it was my first event, so that was a little nerve-wracking for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I might be a little biased, but I personally think that we have such an incredible community. I really do truly love all of our players and all of our participants, as well as everyone who came out to help, which includes you. Thank you for setting up this camera stream and being as much of a member of the community as you have been. You've helped to run other events, you've donated prizes, you've designed a lot of the terrain that we see here on the table. So yeah, I feel truly blessed that I get to be part of this community and help to foster it.
Well, thank you for that shout out. Of course, my Hexagon platform is just off screen in the bottom left, yeah. But I'd say you're selling yourself short a little bit by saying this is your first event, since you run so many of our monthly events.
That is true.
But first, I guess a larger event with different venue rather than the same game store that we can continue to play at, which is also a good part of building up the community that we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. First 2-day event, running a full Swiss was really interesting.
Yeah, I should get you to comment on that as well, because it was eight rounds of Swiss.
Yeah.
Even though we had 19 players, so it took 5 games to have one person undefeated, and then after that, it was the Wild West.
Yes.
And could have gone to strange tiebreakers, but we did manage. Well, we as in Matt managed to go undefeated in all 8 rounds. Second place lost 1 game, third place lost 1 game, third place lost 2 games. Yeah. So it did work itself out nicely, but
it did. It could have been interesting if we did have to go to some interesting tiebreakers there. For anyone who's thinking about putting on like an 8-round full Swiss, it was genuinely it puts its own challenges out there, and I think that there's something really novel to be had about, okay, great, you've gone 5-0, now can you hold on? And I actually think one of the more interesting things about running a long event, when you're thinking about list building, when you're thinking about I was talking to Jeff Moore about this, obviously a huge anchor being in our community, and also he was the person who played all the buy rounds, so big shout out to him for playing 8 rounds of Shatterpoint. Not to be in contention, but I think one of the things that comes out of that is you have to start thinking about, like, do I make a list where it's easy to run, I don't have that much to think about, it's something that I can, like, when I'm at round 8, I can still remember how all of it works, because it's something to be said about, like, oh great, I can make a list that runs, but I have to be like super on my game to do it, and after 8 rounds of Shatterpoint you might just be toast.
Right. And the grand tournament that I went to in August, I definitely had that in mind, because I was tempted, like Thrawn had just dropped, odds was fairly new still, and I was tempted because I tried Gideon and Thrawn and was like, I really like this list.
Yeah.
But I hadn't actually played it in an event yet. I just played against myself, and I was like, man, I could be spicy. I could bring odds. I could bring Gideon, Thrawn, and I chickened out and went like, okay, we're going to be playing 4 or 5 games in a day if I get to the top 8. There's a lot of decision points with Thrawn. And so, yeah, I chickened out. I went with Sabotage Showdown. I went with Dooku Talzin, which I'm still playing, but then also a Maul Obi-Wan list, which I was more confident in, but was actually the one where I got my loss. but yeah, this time I went Moff Thrawn, brought First Contact, which is fairly new, and also adds more decision points.
Absolutely.
So I just, this time, no chickening out, just throw it all in, see what happens. And the extended Swiss saved me because I did lose 2 games on day 1.
I think you're selling yourself short there. You played very well and very consistently.
Well, that's the thing. Day 2, I did win all 4 of my games, so I was happy that I learned from day 1, and it was it overcame any kind of stamina issues for day 2.
Yeah,
got through it, but yeah. Anyway, survived, and yeah. So, do you want to, I guess, briefly, if you were to have played in this event, what would you have brought?
I will fully admit that Matt and I are friends, and we talked at some length about list building, and we even did a few practice games prior to him attending this event. And I'm a huge fan of his Han Kanan approach. It's actually a list that I took to Richmond Reroll a week prior to this event, and really enjoyed it. It's a great list. It's got a ton of dynamic play. I really like how it can respond to board events very well.
And you went 3-0 at that, didn't you? Is that the one you went 3-0?
There was an event at Richmond Reroll that I went 3-0 with the Han Kanan list. It wasn't the last one, actually.
The
last one, I think
maybe the previous one then. Okay.
Yeah. I think the last one I actually took Veers and I can't remember who I paired Veers with, but I think I went 0-3. So swings and roundabouts. And roundabouts.
Well.
But so Han Kanan definitely would have been one of my lists, just because I've had a few rotations with it, and obviously we saw how effective it was. My other one is not quite what Matt brought, which was Kiadi Plo. I've really been enjoying Kiadi and Vader, actually. It doesn't have a ton of synergy to it, but I think it still offers you some good diceless displacement options. Obviously not as many as if you go Kiadi Plo. It does give you some punch. Although admittedly, I think with such a revenge-heavy meta, it's kind of dangerous to run like someone like Vader 1, where a lot of the list is just kind of based on like, I'm going to go get kills, which will get me free abilities, which frees up my force to go do other things. It may not be the right call, but it is one that I enjoy.
Yeah, it is a popular. I think it is a popular list, and it probably leans into what people were doing with Vader Plo when he came out, just using the extra dice to get further down the tree,
exactly,
get those free abilities on people for the displacement, and not necessarily doing the wounding.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of those characters have good recovery, and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely another solid list. And given the amount of Kiadi, it is maybe surprising that there wasn't one with Vader, because I think Brett was, Brett was doing a Kiadi anchor, but then ran Anakin, so that blocks him out of Vader, I guess. But yeah, sounds good, and that solid 2 pairs to be bringing to a big event like that.
Yeah, I definitely think it is interesting that we're seeing sort of the two squad approach. I really envy people who put together a great sort of like you said, like an anchor list and then like 3 other squads that can play into it, because I think that speaks to like stronger list building. But two by two is like certainly a lot easier to run, because it's kind of I'm just going to do this, or I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah, I do think that that if you wanted to run an anchor list, that this is the format of event.
Yes.
That would be...
I agree.
Allow that the most, being 8 games to get all of your pairings out, all your squads played, rather than, say, four games of Swiss before the top cut.
Exactly.
But it seems like I think Brett was one of the few that took advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. And he came in second.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So bravo to Brett.
Yeah. So with that, we'll get on to this round, which is Taka on the bottom and Arthur on the top. And so Arthur's list, this is going to be kind of a Spectre off. So Arthur has, well, they both have Kanan, Ezra, Chopper as one of their squads, and they seem to be facing each other on the right. And Arthur has Leia with Callus and the Rebel Commandos. So bringing 6 force, Leia's got a good amount of out of activation movement. Callus is there to give out the rerolls. I mean, he's a solid activation himself, but Ezra and Kanan can definitely take advantage of those rerolls. And then Taka's is more the full Spectre. He's got Hera and Sabine, along with the Rebel Commandos again, of course. But the comparing Hera to Leia, I guess slightly less out of activation movement with Hera, although they're advances instead of dashes, but then you're getting an extra dash out of Sabine instead. Not getting the rerolls, but more potential triggers for Kanan as well.
It is interesting to think about how, with this list, there are obviously more opportunities for Kanan to revenge, but inversely, with a Kanan Leia, like, Leia's always going to get a chance for revenge.
Right.
And so, like, I think that's a very interesting sort of like pairing. I'm anxiously anticipating the number of revenge into revenge.
Right. Yeah. And when I played Arthur, I played my Dooku Talzin list. So,
I see.
So, however, there was definitely a situation where people were very close to being wounded, but in order to keep the center point, I needed my B2s on like 2 health to keep surviving. And Kanan and Leia were a dash or jump away from that point. So they kind of, if you can imagine the meme, or basically of Kanan with a gun in your face, except it's the B2s that he's holding hostage as you. But that was actually where I learned that Savage's Dark Fury gets around it.
Not in attack.
Because I took out Ezra doing that.
Yeah.
Not flipping the point because Chopper was there too. But anyway.
Good trick.
Yeah. We'll see how many revenge into revenge shenanigans we get out of this. Do you know
if they both brought Sabotage Showdown, or?
There was a lot of Sabotage Showdown at our event.
Yeah.
I tried to reverse engineer. Yes, I do think they did. As if I don't know if I should go through the list in case I'm wrong, but I brought First Contact. Mario and Brett, I think, brought Shifting, and then Diego, Chris, and Shelley brought Odds, and the other 13 players, I think, all brought Sabotage.
That I think that's very interesting. I feel like when I run some variant of Kanan, especially with Ezra, I generally like to go with Never Tell Me the Odds, especially because, man, if Ezra can get you a kill on a support on the turn where Never Tell Me the Odds,
challengers,
it's such a swing.
They also both have Rebel Commandos, which is an advantage on odds.
Yes.
So yeah, it is interesting that they seem to have both brought Sabotage. but perhaps kind of a comfort pick, because that is a comfortable mission, definitely.
Absolutely.
For people. Okay.
Yeah, let's
get started. They seem to be deployed. Hopefully we'll be able to see the struggle tracker on there. I think it seemed like Taka was first player, so he's just shuffling.
I do really love this table. I'm so very thankful to Matt LaRose who painted it. Apparently he's going to do even more work on this. The original idea was to make a Nar Shaddaa themed table, so we want to make it like kind of gaudy, and I think he did a great job doing it.
Yeah.
Any idea which one of those struggle cards he got? Based on the layout, we should be able to tell what this special.
Yeah. I don't think it's a dash.
Maybe we'll be able to tell.
It's hard to read.
Yeah.
But
we'll see what happens on some Shatterpoints. That might give us a clue.
My guess, I almost feel like I see a force on the end of there, but not sure. Looks like he's getting Sabine though.
Yep. And looks like he's sticking with her. Dashing Hera makes a lot of sense. I often find that Hera is one of those characters where range for a gun, if she activates early and doesn't have anyone to go after, she's kind of out of no man's land. So getting her a little bit of movement certainly very helpful.
This is true. And with that, if she picks a Spectre, they also get a Hunker. She does have to choose someone else for that. Yeah, it looks like she picked Hera. Who popped up the ladders. That's good.
Taka did something there which I think is very smart, which is we just saw a measure 4 to the objective. And for those in the know, a dash on a small base character will get you to... if you're trying to contest a point, a dash will get you to it if you're at least within 4.
Right.
Assuming straight line, assuming no ingresses, like you can fairly reasonably be assured of that by doing that. So
he may also be checking for the active ability.
That
as well. Since that's range 4 and gives a jump. But
plus he's still at an
jump to take cover.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now we're on there with the Hunkers. So that's good and solid there. Alright, so passing it back over to Andrew, so he'll be
Arthur.
Arthur. have I done that multiple times now at this point?
I think only once.
Only once, okay.
So we're okay.
Okay, so controlling 3 for Taka, 2 for Arthur. And Arthur is pulling the Rebel Commandos. So I did notice in my game as well that, well, I guess he did it less in this one, but in mine he deployed Leia more centrally, and then kind of had the Rebel Commandos on both of the points.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then was able to split them onto, I think he pulled them early as well, and split them onto the 2 middle objectives. So I wonder if I see the ones in the middle.
Yeah, the one underneath the gap.
Yeah, kind of underneath. I wonder if he'll be able to get over to the other side. Because otherwise, usually on Sabotage, if, whatever side that squad's on, they're kind of stuck in that lane rather than wanting to cross.
Very sensibly, taking that little ping for the focus and hunker.
Yeah, move in.
Yeah, and start lighting people up. I'm guessing he's probably got range 5 on both of them. So Sabine.
Yeah, they might have to check line of sight for the one, but should be. I think he should be able to see around the tower there.
Hard to see on the camera, but Arthur is certainly one of the most gifted painters that I've met. He his paint jobs are incredible. I think he's actually won a number of painting competitions from back in the day when we used to play War Machine. He very kindly offered to be a judge for our event for painting.
That's right.
Which is very generous of him. Ooh, good roll.
Yeah. It's a lot of crits. The expertise will get him 2 more hits.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 through, I guess, he says.
Yeah,
for a full tree, casually.
Ooh. I mean, she's not dead yet, but that's close.
Yeah. That must have been all fails on that defense roll.
Unfortunate.
So probably getting a pin, shove, disarm, reposition if he wants it.
Yeah.
And a heal, as well as 7 damage. Down to 6 because of protection.
Going for the double shove.
We're going double shove, so
really
bottom track.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that'll be 5 down to 4, I guess then.
Wonder who the other commando's going to shoot at.
Yeah, might have. Oh yeah, checking range on Hera.
Yeah. For anyone comes from me in the comments, we did check Arthur's rulers. They're fine. they do measure. He did have a backup set of the actual official stuff, but he, after verifying that the measurements are the same, he was like, I paid for these ones and I really like them. And they are very pretty, so we permitted him to continue.
Fancy.
Yeah. Oh, early grab at the middle. I guess he didn't have range for a shot.
Yeah. Looked close from this angle on maybe the other rebel commandos, but I think angle is affecting that.
Interesting choice. Getting up into the middle there gives you the coordinate fighter damage, which is always handy when you're bringing this much heat. Looks like he reserved chopper there.
Yep, that was a pretty automatic straight to reserve there.
Very understandable.
So again, pushing Hera up.
Trying to get her closer.
Looking. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Looking for range. What is it? 5 on Sabine to see if when she activates, she can get some heals and conditions off of her.
I do really like the full Spectre, or even almost full Spectre list, in that I think it poses this really interesting question of like, do you want to wound me? Because if you do, Kanan gets to do a whole bunch of stuff. But if you don't, Hera is the ticking time bomb that will save everyone.
Yeah, and that's the thing. At least so far, when I've been playing against Kanan, I mean, I did mention that situation where he was basically holding my B2s hostage.
Yeah.
But I do feel in general that he is but one man, and yeah, he can get some good damage out, but sometimes you got to do it, and you do look for your opportunities where it's going to be kind of minimal impact, but I would say list build in a way that's like, okay, I have to have this answer to Kanan to get around his revenge attack.
Yeah.
But even though my list did happen to have that accidentally.
Happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say.
Happy little accident.
Yeah. So it looks like we had Kanan give Hera a dash, get her more in range of Sabine, and then he took his own dash, and then he advanced around the side and popped a shot at the Rebel Commando.
Getting himself a follow-up, I think, in the process. Yeah, close enough to get that objective from below.
Any idea how much damage he was able to get through there?
Do you know how many successes? Did you hear? Yeah,
I didn't hear it, but
I'd have to get at least 2 for the follow-up for 3 damage.
Yeah. Which gets him the objective point, which is the important part on this.
Yeah.
I doubt he wounded
Yeah.
I've also noticed that neither of them have moved the struggle token at all.
Right.
I'm sure
so that
it
was let's see. Well, yeah, they just went 3-3.
Yeah, so I think
they did move the momentum
for
landing on 0. I think
that.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think they're okay. Yeah, the struggle token is white on this, so it does make it a little hard to see on the white background of it.
Yeah, I see we have Ezra moving up.
And so he'll be able to easily take that point either through tiebreaker or just by getting to the proper elevation.
Yep.
I do know if somebody commented on this map, I think it was Mark, that if you got knocked off that point that Ezra's now on, there wasn't actually a direct ingress back up to it.
Interesting.
Which was interesting because you have ingress points on the tower, but you need 2 movements kind of to get up there, and then you're also on the wrong side of the tower too far away from the objective still, so people's ability to like dash back or reposition back on didn't actually work for this one.
It does put a lot of value on jumps on like Mandalorians. I think would be pretty apt. Yeah.
And Savage, fun fact, has a jump on his defensive expertise as well. If you get through his steadfast. Hera is going to go now for Taka, and so he spent his momentum.
Yeah.
He's gonna heal up. Was he in range of Sabine? I guess.
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell from the sticks. I assume that if she was, she probably got healed, and if she wasn't, then that probably didn't happen. But
yeah, because nothing would have happened if you couldn't heal Sabine. Then I don't think anyone else had anything on them, so she must have been in range.
Yeah,
because he definitely spent the momentum there.
Yeah.
And so it looks like he's looking to also go for the middle.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Oh
no. We're changing course. Yeah.
The cat has joined us.
Yes. Yeah, just gonna move up.
Yeah, I think this is a very valid choice to just deny the hunker from the commandos who have such good terrain positioning that they're basically going to keep getting 2 extra defense dice against range shots. So just close up.
Yeah, that is true. It does seem very early to be kind of committing to the center, but
true.
All of the points are within 5 of the center, and so by being there, she does cover a big area. If he was to Shatterpoint her or something, take a bunch of damage off people and conditions and stuff. It's gonna do an attack into Rebel Commandos. It'll be a melee attack.
Hera's not a slouch in melee, but
yeah, she into supports. She can get something through.
I assume he's in Spread a Little Light, probably just going in for that shove.
Yeah, I heard him talk about already being pinned, so must have gotten 2 through at least.
Yeah, we see Kanan on the move, so probably got the wound.
Right. Yeah, because this will be the one Rebel Alliance character that is not a Spectre, so he will get the 2 heals and a jump, but not the 5-dice attack.
A shame that he wasn't able to get Sabine back onto that point, because wounding Center Commando could have swung him that extra point.
Yeah, he must have. Well, yeah, Ezra's only taken a dash. I wonder if he forgot to do the advance.
I think he might have moved someone else. Or maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, unless he got Kanan up one of the ladders. Anyway, that will be just the 2 points for Taka. So not landing on the 0 this time.
Not the worst thing in the world, honestly, to, like, certainly not a long-term strategy, but if you can get a momentum and not give your opponent one, and you're not in danger of losing the struggle that turn, maybe that's okay. As opposed to, like, going something like 0-3, 0-3, 0-3.
Yeah. Arthur picked the Shatterpoint, but seems to have shuffled it back in to get Callus.
Nope.
So he's going to take his dash. Looks kind of towards the center. He's going to do a climb.
Yeah.
Or, no, I think that ladder goes to the ground, so he's doing an advance to the ladder.
Okay.
Also kind of committing to the middle.
Yeah.
Even though the Rebel Commando sitting on the 1 point by himself is wounded.
Yeah. Really fighting over this middle position that hasn't been activated.
Yeah.
Fairly decent roll. What, only 1 miss? That's a good start.
Yeah, we'll definitely be pushing Hera off of the objective and maybe kind of out of position.
Yeah. And for 9 dice, I assume he must have paid for his Imperial Intelligence.
Right. Or prepared for any encounter.
Oh,
is the way. Imperial Intelligence is the reroll. Going for the damage. Full tree, so 7 damage, exposed, shove. It's gonna get the reposition, so I guess this is... Yeah, there you go. That's how you hop over and body up that.
Risky play. Because that reposition isn't the easiest
that
thing
is,
to get to.
What's Hera's defense like? Let's see. Yeah, like 4 defense dice. She can get a heal off the expertise. So yeah. With that amount of dice, yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't bank on a full tree, but it worked out. So there you go. He's already sitting with 4 points. So now struggle token and momentum are touching. It looks like.
Yeah.
So
big move on his part. Looks like it paid out. Looks like we have a Shatterpoint. So I wonder if this is...
now we're getting Sabine moving in to tie that up.
I guess the question here is, was that a Shatterpoint that gave Sabine a dash? Was she paying for a jump? Did she...
Good question. Yeah, we're measuring Hera, so it must have been... I was wondering if it was going to be a Hera Shatterpoint.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Especially if she still has range on the 5. Guessing this is Hera trying to take a shot
at Callus. It's going to be fishing for... Well, I guess 2 steps will get the shove.
Yeah.
So...
Alright, well, Hera climbs up. I do really enjoy Hera turns because, like, especially if she's in a position to do something, like, it's very reasonable to see her, like, flip 3 objectives by herself.
Yeah.
Something crazy.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have anyone wounded yet to kind of take advantage of the "we will not stand down." And like I said, I guess there's no ingress point to get someone like Ezra up to that point, midline point on the right. He's gonna get the shove.
Nice. And he got Sabine into position, which was also great.
That Arthur's point top left is kind of open for taking. He didn't really have, I guess, anyone in position to go for that. And he is flipping 1 here.
Yeah.
But I would have been tempted by that, because I do think it's important, struggle 1 of Sabotage Showdown, to be at least contesting your opponent's back objectives, so that on the struggle 2 flip, it's a harder decision for your opponent, or better for yourself.
Yeah. Plus, critically here, If he only gets 3 points, then Arthur is just 4 away from taking the struggle, assuming those 2 points are touching at the time.
Yeah.
Which, especially on Sabotage, I think is fairly easy to pull, right? Like, you take 3 objectives and a momentum and you're golden. So I think in that situation where you've got Sabine holding 1 point, and Hera can go dive the other, like, it's dangerous, understandably. And it does put Hera kind of out of position from what you want, but maybe that's the play. Just so that you can actually pull out the struggle.
Right. So yeah, he must have... Did he get a reposition off the tree, I guess? So he might have full treat on that.
Oh, wow. Would that have been
full trees all around.
No.
Well, for Callus, she would have had to go kind of down the middle and then up, and so like 4 damage.
Oh, looks like we have Kanan moving up. I don't actually know who he dashed, so maybe he's not in Path Hunter. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, we can't see Chopper. Maybe Chopper got a dash.
Might be something contesting the top right objective.
Yeah. He already has that point.
Yeah.
Gonna take a shot. So yeah, not getting the wound, so not finishing off the struggle here. And so Taka will get his Ezra.
Yeah. So does he? Oh, okay. Interesting line of play. Just try to
jump. If he can push other Ezra,
he needs to get other Ezra out.
Then he can take the point.
Yeah,
but he may. It's also possible that you just try to get some damage through and people out of position. If you're not confident on getting this struggle pulled back.
Sadly, I think you're going to need at least a double shove, right? Because you need Ezra not to contest the point at all. You can just shove him off at the wrong level because he still does do the tie break for Kanan, even if he's not the one on the right level.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, he will need 3 steps in order to get the double shove here.
Yeah. Oh, here's the first. Did he do it? Oh, he did it.
That's 2. There we go.
He just went ahead and did it. Yeah, probably just like a little nudgy nudge to close up with that objective. Flips it. Which I think gives him 4 points, which is... It
does, yeah.
It's keeping him alive, it's giving him momentum.
Yeah.
Oh, Shatterpoint again.
Arthur's Shatterpoint comes back.
Yeah, of course.
Either... Well, yeah, Leia or... Well, no, not off the tactic, I guess. Yeah, Kanan's getting the dash, or dashing Ezra and then getting a dash himself.
Yeah, makes it easy to shove.
Yeah. What else could have happened here? Because Taka does have people on his back objectives, so those ones aren't so easy to steal.
Interesting. What are we doing here?
Could have been, well, yeah.
Oh, trying to go for the shot, maybe?
I guess so.
Yeah.
We're backing up. I guess more dice at range for Kanan and Pack Hunter or Pack Leader. Yeah, Ezra's defense is the same, melee or range.
Interesting choice, because if he had just kept himself and Ezra there, presumably he just takes control of it.
Yeah.
But hey, this looks like it worked out.
Yeah. Shut him down and follow up.
Yeah, follows up back into the point, presumably. Okay, so he Pack Hunters himself off the point.
Right.
Takes a shot, then advances himself back onto it. Sure. Little rope-a-dope there.
Oh, so we'll get his 3 points.
Yeah, Arthur 2 away, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the thing is, okay. Yeah, Taka's getting Rebel Commandos. I thought he was locked into Chopper, but Rebel Commandos could look at taking a point.
Yeah, 2 bites of the apple, not bad. Also getting them into position to start offering coordinated fires, which is always good.
Mm-hmm. And here again, I wonder if they could cross the board, steal that back point, reposition on 4. Because yeah, they need their dash and advance. They could, if they really wanted to fish for it, they could take some pot shots at the wounded Rebel Commando.
Yeah, probably the best odds of getting far down the tree if you're gonna just go for it. For a moment, I thought he was actually going to send both of his commandos to both of his opponent's back points, which would have been hilarious.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think Chopper's still in the deck, so they can't get a range shot to shove him off.
I do really enjoy that setup where like Chopper is like your last card to go, and then he just is like, I'm immune to shooting, I can be shot. I'm immune to shooting again.
Yeah.
Alright, looks like we have our commandos kind of branching out here.
Guarding the back point, gonna take a shot at Ezra. So Ezra's getting a dash off his expertise. So even if he gets shoved off, he can't just get back up there. But
yeah, does he have anyone upstairs to contest though? So even if he does,
no. So just preparing for later, I guess. Although yeah, he didn't get him off the gantry, so he will be able to just dash back. All right, I was going to take a shot at Callus.
Callus does feel like one of those pieces where you might pay 1 force for a reroll. You might even pay 2 if it's a reroll you need badly enough. But just getting that wound, or even getting like some early strains onto Callus seems so very important.
Yeah, I actually had a game. I was playing Thrawn, Vader, and I had dashed, or I'd given, I think I gave him an advance and a strain from the battle tactic, and then he got shot and given every other condition. And so I reserved him for free with Thrawn. Vader got wounded, so I shuffled my deck. And then when he came up again, I reserved him again. And then Vader got wounded again, and I shuffled my deck. Callus actually didn't activate the entire game that went to 3 struggles.
I mean, on the one hand, like, boy oh boy, a bunch of free heals, but inversely also, like, ugh. Getting your primaries wounded over and over again is never a good time.
Yeah.
Well, we see Leia beginning to move up.
Yep, so Shatterpoint Leia could use the tactic on either Chopper or Rebel Commandos. Maybe Chopper again. Or no, it doesn't have to be a support, so yeah, it could have been any of the rebels. So I'm not sure if that got missed.
Probably on a commando, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay. That's what's happening. Kanan is being Shatterpointed, and gave a dash to Leia, and yeah, and then shot somebody. But I think we're finishing off this struggle here.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Taka just the objective just moved towards Taka, so now it's
okay.
Yeah,
we're moving momentum. That's what's happening. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now Leia's gonna go.
I wonder if the commander's wounded someone and that's what happened. Like maybe the commander's wounded someone and that's why Leia dashed up.
I see. Yep.
Maybe that shot into
that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. Because it's like, okay, now it looks like Taka just finished his turn. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing about the double revenge. It's like, whose turn is it?
I think most classic Sabotage games, like you get the situation where one player just sits on all this momentum and the other player has the objective token on their side but doesn't close it out, and then it's just like, who's the one that's able to push it that last extra mile to get what they need. Yeah.
So Leia, let's see, okay, so she's giving herself the active dash, I think, and then doing a focus, getting another dash in the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
So now she's heading for a back point now that it is abandoned, it looks like. Or might be an easy shove to get the rebel commando off.
That looks like a pretty good roll.
Yeah, and if she's on covert rebel, just got shoves on 1 and 2, so that would be pretty easy. Yeah, so getting the 3 steps through for 4 damage, a heal on the rebel commando, and then a shove and a reposition. So yeah, that'll get the rebel commando off.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely get her onto that point.
Yeah.
So there's the 4-point swing there, although I think that just gets it back to touching.
I don't know if it's enough. Probably needed the wound to close that door.
Yeah.
Still though, like you were saying, I think it's really important to go grab one of your opponent's back objectives to sort of like push the needle.
Especially now that the left midline point is double-bodied.
Yeah.
So Taka's forced into chopper turn now. Probably walk over and smack Leia, but and he could get 2 shoves in melee potentially. Thing is, Leia also potentially gets a dash back if she's still sitting in covert rebel. So.
And in the longer game, the other problem you're going to have is, let's say Taka's successful, goes up, shoves Leia off, gets that point back. He's only getting what?
So that would be a 3-point turn, yeah.
It's a 3-point turn, which, given that Arthur, once again, would only need 4, and also Leia can very easily dash herself back on if she needs to.
Yeah. Although, Arthur's also going to be forced into his chopper turn.
No, that's true, and we still don't entirely know where. I suspect Chopper's on the top right somewhere.
Yeah, maybe there.
Oh yeah, that looks like that's something underneath that.
Yeah, unless that's just the objective, but
yeah. But of course, this all somewhat hinges on can Chopper actually shove Leia out? Looks like he decides to do his war crimes. I think I just saw him roll 3 defense dice.
Oh, he can't actually get a pin though. There's no pin with Mayhem. Although, well, yeah, if he puts a strain on,
you just hope for the expose, I assume.
Well, exposed to he can only do 5 damage.
Yeah.
So really, either way, he's not preventing the dash back, and I think there were 2 expertise there. So.
I understand Chopper being here, especially when you're running as many. Oh, he doesn't get the shove. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. So that's probably the struggle for.
Yeah, he's sitting with 4, so so this is perfect timing to have Chopper go and just kind of either sit there or take a random shot at somebody. I guess he's going to move forward. Must have a force left to move. Well, no, that might have just been a move action. Take a shot at Rebel Commando.
I mean, I feel like if you've got the struggle, you probably just look at what the next struggle is, the potential layouts, and then that's probably what you want to do when you're Chop. In this, if you were Arthur with Chop at the circumstance, but if you can get a cheeky shot on someone, why not?
Yeah, I mean, he does. I guess he's only range 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's the only range 3 character. Ranged attack at range 3.
Yeah. I can't remember if. No. I'll just sway. There we go.
Life with a cat, right?
Cat. The crib is not for you.
That is where you are mistaken. All features for the cat. Oh, who do we have?
Okay, we have
Kanan?
Yeah. Okay, so I think Chopper walked up and got the wound on the Rebel Commando, which now Kanan is jumping onto that point to make sure Chopper can't try to steal it.
That's a big turn. Being able to potentially grab that objective and put himself in the center, which is useful for struggle 2 and sabotage most of the time.
Yeah, that's a 2 out of 3 there. I do like. He's done a good job of moving into the board, but now he has kind of left his back objectives open.
But inversely, Taka doesn't have anyone there at the moment, so he is sort of forcing this thing of like, yeah, my back points are open, but you're gonna have to run past me to get it.
But he's also gonna have to move back to take them.
He looked at it.
We're shuffling.
Probably has to shuffle it. Yeah, it's all good. Since
the order deck is also being shuffled, we took a card from that, but that is not the mission card. So
that it happens.
So we're getting lines across. The middle objective is active, so Chopper will be currently sitting on that.
Yeah.
For Arthur.
Great positioning of Arthur, right? Because in this case, with this particular order card, he has 2 of the 3, no matter what Taka picks, which is, that's rough. Actually, sorry, you're right. Chopper and Leia are just.
Chopper and Leia are tied.
Yeah.
And then he's abandoned his back one, so he's got the middle. But yeah, so obviously Taka is going to go with the one that Kanan is now on, which leaves the back left open. Since we have fresh decks, he does have, Callus, Sabine. I'm not sure if Hera could quite make it to that back point, but he does have basically a squad worth of people that could go for it.
This is why we need to endorse dice trays. Chopper again.
So
I think Arthur just exclaimed the same thing. And right into the reserve slot. Right in reserve.
Yeah, because I don't think he can quite get the movement to go for that back point.
Yeah.
So and we're getting Kanan, although Kanan also would kind of like to stay there, but yeah, move Ezra onto the point, then he can run away from it.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, yeah, he either has to take the one from Chopper or cross the board with Kanan.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, I think, he's got a lot of other people that could go for that back point. So yeah, move up.
This makes sense.
Take it from Chopper.
You need someone with a melee attack to go after Choppers within the mid. I do wonder, now that we have seen the stats and the card for Cassian, I think Cassian's such a strong, not necessarily a replacement to Kanan, but I think we're going to see, if that is the playstyle you enjoy, I think Cassian's going to be such a great addition to any Rebel player's list.
Yeah, I definitely, it's hard for me to kind of say what's better. I mean, we know Kanan is very strong, but Kanan's also very restricted.
Yes,
in your list building, whereas Cassian is very flexible. I mean, almost to the level of Leia, where you can, you don't need to have necessarily rebels and or spies with him. I mean, good to have one at least, because I think, his tactic looks for rebel. Let's see. So yeah, his tactic, or no, he doesn't have a tactic. It's an active. So, and his identity for the Shatterpoint ability, it's only Rebel Alliance that can get the impact and sharpshooter. But otherwise,
Chopper activation.
Arthur's getting Chopper. Is Chopper going into reserve? No, because
Chopper's in a reasonable spot.
Yeah, to go up against Kanan, I guess. But yeah, Cassian's he's got some things that key off Rebel, but
he's actually pretty flexible.
He can be pretty flexible, and his revenge trigger especially is flexible.
I don't want to ruin it for Matt, but Matt Bronson was talking about some really interesting list ideas with Cassian, and there's one really spicy idea which I think on paper sounds kind of ridiculous, but I mean, we'll see it at the next event. And like I said, I don't want to spoil it for him because I think he was pretty proud of it.
Yeah, well, we actually the other, well, it was a Canadian tournament, not a GT.
Yeah,
but in Ontario, that was won by a Cassian anchor, where he was actually leaning pretty heavily into Cassian with Moff Gideon.
What is this nonsense? Fielding Cassian when all of his peasants don't have access to him. Ridiculous.
Yeah, because did he officially release?
I mean, he was released at Adepticon.
Technically,
you can legally purchase him.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be end of April, and then got pushed back a week or two. But us in Canada have not been graced with that yet.
It was actually a really interesting, talking about the GT, it was an interesting problem for me to consider, do I permit people to use things like First Contact, when most people don't have access to them? Right. Yeah, and then you bribed me, and so I permitted it, because I could very easily bought.
Cut this out. Cut this out.
I see Chopper looks like he was able to re-obtain the middle point. Not too surprising. He good job.
Yeah.
Leading us back into Ezra.
So, where's Ezra? Ezra's kind of where you want him to be already. I mean, he could abandon the point for the middle if is the priority, but and this is the problem with having Chopper in reserve, because yeah, he can't really leave that point.
Well, his
also
chopper
can't be reserved.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I thought you meant
on his
Arthur's
side. Yeah. Taka's chopper in reserve.
It certainly doesn't help that they have almost measurelists.
Yeah.
Have we? I admittedly haven't like heard it, but I don't know if I've actually seen a reroll trigger from Callus yet.
Yeah, I don't think that it's been called out. Can't see the force, but yeah, I don't think he called any out.
Honestly, I think that's actually pretty smart. I feel like one of the mistakes that a lot of people make with Callus is they reroll in the hopes of getting like a full tree or you know, trying to avoid a particularly nasty attack. And I think what you really want to use Callus rerolls for is when you get the wrong result. Like you really need 2 results and you only get 1.
Yeah.
I think that is the prime opportunity to reroll Callus as opposed to like, I got 4 hits, but I really want 5. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Plan small.
Yeah, and here Callus goes himself. Not sure what. Priority is.
Looks like the back.
Taka's point. So don't think he can quite go for that. But I was just gonna say, because I don't actually own the Spectres yet.
You don't own the Spectres?
I don't, because I'm a weirdo that hears that something is the meta and is like, no, I want to do something else.
I do want to call out, I've always respected that you still field Dooku Talzin, who I think are fantastic, and I really do wish I saw more Sept players, because like, I know they're not the latest or the hottest thing that's on the market, but like, I really think they're such a solid combination.
Yeah, and I think, and that's something I do like about our community as well. We do have, people who are still playing Dooku Grievous and
the Fairfaxes,
Hunter Obi. I mean, that's popular, but a lot of other Republic stuff too. Yeah, that has fallen off elsewhere, but and like Mark has been playing Mandos. He didn't play full Mandos just because his daughter stole some of his list.
Thanks, Lauren.
But yeah, like year and a half in, he's still playing core box Mandos, but doing well with them because he's played them so much. So yeah, we get some diversity because of people just like what they like and they want to play it.
Totally. I do. Well, hang on, I want to make sure we didn't miss something here. So it looks like Callus kind of moseyed up a little and then took a pot shot at something. I wonder if he was hoping to get the reposition. So probably like an event. Oh no, there you go.
Because I don't think he took his move yet. Yeah, but took a shot at maybe Sabine or Hera. Yeah, gets the full moving. Yeah. But what I was gonna say, I guess, was that I haven't actually played Callus as a rebel yet. Fair. I mean, I have played him in Empire, which not a lot of people do. But so the one time I used his reroll was when Vader was doing an attack into Maul, I think, and he needed one more result. He just needed a hit or crit would get the one more result after the blocks and everything, and of course you can only reroll 1 from Callus. But it was a 50-50, and if I did that, I could give a dash. Well, for one thing, then I don't shuffle him back in. But also I could give a dash to Thrawn across the board to go to Ingress Point up and take a second point. So I did it, and it did work.
It did work.
It did work out. Nice. That one time that I used it. But yeah, that's the only time I've actually used Callus's reroll.
I do think like, first of all, like, I think that's one of the beautiful things about Shatterpoint that I enjoy so much about it, that when you are able to thread together all the little pieces to make these incredible plays happen, you feel like a genius.
And that's why I continue to play Thrawn as well, because he's a lot of fun in that regard. Absolutely. Where it's like, okay, if I reserve this, then I have this chance of getting a battle tactic which could move this person, and this, these two people are my two people that are left. So you just like follow this 3-step thing of like, these possibilities could happen with over this much chance, and then it happens. And you're like, yeah,
you get this 4D chess moment.
All has been proceeding as I have foreseen.
It is the dream, and like that is, again, like one of the greatest things about Shatterpoint. I think it offers that opportunity a lot, because there's so much of like the interplay of like, if I do this and this and this, and it all kind of trips together, it looks great. Whereas I find with like some other war games, which I'm not going to mention, because if you enjoy a war game, you enjoy a war game. I'm not going to poo-poo that. But like I do find that some games are just like, I set up a gun line and then I shoot. Did I kill more of yours than you'll kill of mine? And then, okay, now it's your turn.
Right.
I think that's kind of boring.
Yeah. I actually found as well, because I was playing Imperial Assault before this, through the continuity project, and I was finding that I had a lot more analysis paralysis in that, because you can choose your activation order. So early on in the round, and Hera's getting the shove on Chopper there, so looks like she's going to be grabbing that point. But yeah, so early on in the round, you're like kind of having to plan out your entire activation order to be to decide like, okay, this is who I need to move first, and this is exactly where I need to put them, so that I can put the other people in these spots. So I found with the activation order deck that yes, there's still like analyzing, could I pick a better, like, could I get a better draw right now? But you have to analyze the chance of getting a better draw. You can't just say, okay, this is the perfect better thing, so I'm going to go with that. It's like, okay, can I have a decent turn with this? And then, what are my odds of getting a better or worse? And is that worth the force? And then after that, you have to go with what you've got.
Yeah, I really like that decision making that you have to do of like, is this good enough? And I think that's the other thing. I think one of the I've described in the past this idea of like tiers of what would you call it? Tiers of knowledge with Shatterpoint, and I feel like one of those early tiers is like, you stop thinking about like, man, I really hope I get Kanan on this draw, and instead you start thinking of like, who do I absolutely not want to see?
Right.
If I draw this is an auto reserve.
Yeah.
And if my reserve slot is already full, can I chance it? Like, if there's a 1 in 4 chance that I draw someone that is going to essentially do nothing for this like priority objective or to flip me a point, can I take that chance, or do I go with what's in my reserve? And yeah, like I really like that part of Shatterpoint for sort of like making you have to make that decision.
Yeah. And so as you were talking about that, we're now seeing Taka pull Chopper out of reserve, because this is an opportunity for him to do something, try and take that center objective back from Hera, and in the process free up that reserve slot, I think, as well.
Yeah, because if he goes in there, then Hera can maybe mobilize somewhere else. Oh, or is he going for the bottom? Actually, I think he already has the bottom right.
I
think he already has the bottom right. And I think
that's his Hera.
That's his
Hera.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. Never mind. So yeah.
Oh, we see.
Thinking about bodying up. Well, so yeah, the 2 close points are already his, I think.
Yeah, I think so, because the Rebel Commandos, I think, are still dead, and Hera is within range, I think, so...
Yeah, and
oh, we see,
yeah, I'm not sure who's...
Chopper Mayhem, I think. 3 defense dice suggest Chopper Mayhem.
I think Arthur just moved his Ezra, actually, onto the back point. So maybe he does have to take that back.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's doing a... Looks like he might be doing a Mayhem and attack into Kanan, actually.
Doesn't look like he got a lot through there, which is unfortunate for him. Oh, interesting. He went after Leia?
Oh, Leia. Okay.
Interesting. Given that she's... Maybe he was trying to clear her so he can, like, take a full advance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was... Yeah, that makes sense. He almost took the jump. But yeah, it does make sense that if you can push Leia away and get a full advance instead to get you on the point. But then I'm not sure if he... Well, then he might...
oh, did he wound Leia and gave his Ezra the dash?
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, which, because now we're looking at maybe a Kanan play here.
Right, because Kanan's gonna trigger.
Yeah, he'll just heal and jump because Leia's.
Yeah, that's right. And will he get close enough?
Do you think Kanan will see a rebalance when the rebalance notes come out?
Well, he hasn't been mentioned.
No,
but he is also around the same time as Inferno Squad, which has been mentioned.
Yeah. Which
is slightly, I think, by like a week or two over the 12-month mark. But so yeah, I think he's in the range that they could consider him.
Just watch, this video is going to drop after the notes come out.
Well,
we'll look like fools.
Yeah, that is quite likely, actually. But I would say the thing is, though, and why I've been okay with actually not getting him is, like I said, about kind of how restrictive kind of I mean, it's not like
he wants
he pairs with other rebels, but you need a certain amount of Spectres with him, and he's not really going to get better as more stuff comes out.
Yeah, we're not likely to see more Spectres anytime soon.
Yeah, whereas like Inferno Squad, just Galactic Empire, as more Empire stuff comes out, it just like you can optimize further. So I feel like the place Kanan's in is where he'll stay, even if he's not touched. So, and I mean, I'm a little biased by the fact that I generally do like 2 or 3 wounds in a game. So his clapback kind of doesn't bother me as much as I think people who are more used to like 5 or 6 wounds in a game type of thing. So personally, I guess I wouldn't, but I think he's in the range that they could look at him.
I think that's a very interesting and nuanced take, because I actually agree very much. I think the reason why someone might say like Kanan needs a rebalance is because of how much you see him in the meta, but that's not necessarily a reason to nerf him or buff him. Not that I think anyone's
right.
If anyone's thinking about rebalancing him, they're not going to buff him. But I feel like what you want to do is you want to future proof, and Kanan is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, we're not really going to have to worry about, presumably, we're not going to have to worry about too much.
Especially since Fulcrum Ahsoka came out.
Yes.
And she's not a Spectre.
Yes.
Like, I don't know who else would be a Spectre.
Yeah. Nope. Leia wakes up. He's back. But yeah,
might just be preparing for next struggle, kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
Because she just kind of centered herself on that point.
Sabotage is such an interesting mission for that, because I think especially coming out of shifting priorities, something that a lot of players used to do is they would like, I won the first struggle, so I'll just let struggle 2 go and set up for struggle 3, which is a pretty reasonable strategy for shifting priorities. But with Sabotage, I find that because that third struggle could be anything and you have no control over like what the layout looks like, it can be really risky to just like let struggle 2 go. And I think Arthur's doing a great job of staying in the fight. You know, like make Taka pay for every point he takes. Set yourself up for that third struggle where if the layout isn't in your favor, you at least still have, you know, like you've wounded a bunch of people on the other side and you can make more of a fight out of it. Looks like a pot shot at Hera, and then runs up the ladder to come grab the middle. Not very sneaky, just edging Hera out of contesting and then like running Leia into the mid. That's good.
Taka's gonna get Sabine, so that's gonna put Hera back.
Did he roll for priority? I'm not sure
on the point. I don't think he has yet. No.
Maybe he's just like like this is happening no matter what.
And Sabine. Sabine was one of the ones that could go for that point Callus is on. Or no, that's hit.
That's Callus.
No,
that's Sabine.
That's Arthur's Callus. So, but Sabine's gonna go towards the middle. Or if he's.
I did want to make a side mention of something here, in case again someone comes through me in the comments, which is yes, that is not the official Sabine model. Unfortunately for Taka, he actually lost his Sabine model.
Oh shoot!
Which, as much as I do actually really like the way that Shatterpoint boxes their models together, but it does put you in an odd spot in these sort of situations where it's like, no, you're probably not going to go buy another $80 box because you lost one miniature. So Taka did come to me. He asked if he could proxy, and given the circumstances, I was more than happy to let him do that because that's a lot of money to just drop. Which is unfortunate.
But it looks like that must be like an alternate 3D model of Sabine.
And she does. So Taka did a great job of making her look like Sabine. So I didn't see a problem. I don't think anyone looks at that as like, oh, is this Hera?
It doesn't seem confusing for sure.
Looks like a fairly good roll from Taka there. I don't see a lot of misses. Looks like Sabine came in with a vengeance.
Staying out of range of engagement so that it can be a sharpshooter ranged attack. Seems to be paying off.
Of course, the age-old question: where is Kanan? I'm pretty sure that's his Kanan in the bottom right there. So if he wounds Leia again, although Leia just came back, so she's probably in good shape.
She's probably full health.
Maybe a wound's not
let's
that
see.
realistic.
He can get 8 potentially on the tree there. So.
I suppose you could pay for a commando to help out, but I actually don't know if they're. I think his commandos are wounded by now, so like. I don't know if it's worth.
They've both been wounded.
Because you're hoping for like run a full tree and get the one. Like that's a bit much.
Well, you got the 2 shoves, which is what he needed. Although I might have checked the angles on that, but anyway, pushing her off, and Sabine's going off as well.
Interesting.
Leaving his Hera there.
I wonder
to take that point.
A strategy to maybe straddle the 2 points so that if you do decide to dash, actually, if you decide to jump Sabine, because she can always be jumped, she can either threaten the bottom right or the midpoint. A little bit of flexibility there.
So it looks like he is doing that ability. And jumping on.
Did he just blow up that point?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, good lord. He's realizing he didn't roll priority.
There it is.
I guess they're just deciding to
no roll there, so just the 2 points.
Which is fair, I guess. If you're, among other things, he didn't go for the priority, so we're probably just leaving it there. its way back up.
So where are his commandos? His
I believe there's one on the bottom right.
Well, I think
you're talking about Arthur.
Yeah, Arthur's. I think Arthur's are these. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
kind of in the mid.
So midline. So if one could push Hera off.
Yeah.
His Callus already has it back. Yeah, I think the other one probably just goes to the center point as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm wondering for Arthur if he is at this point thinking, try to win Struggle 2, or if he's still in the mode of like, just try to chip him down, get myself ready for Struggle 3. And I think what the command on the left does will be quite telling. Oh, okay. Looks like he's just going for it. Just try to win Struggle 2.
Yeah,
which is very fair.
The Struggle token is staying pretty well in the middle. I don't see the momentum token for Taka, so I think Arthur has more momentum than Taka and could potentially threaten this.
Yeah. Honestly, it makes sense. Like, I think if you've won Struggle 1, you want to set up presumably for Struggle 3, or you want to try to win on Struggle 2. Either way, I think just going ham and just trying to pick up wounds, not a bad line of play. Of course, you're doing that into Spectres and Kanan, so your mileage may vary.
So getting
grabs
both. Getting the reposition from the 4 steps. But doubling up on that point, and shoving Hera off.
I don't know if that was proper. Because you shove before you reposition. Arthur, buddy.
So I think might have done that in order.
Yeah.
But what we're having happen is a reposition and then the shove.
Yeah.
To get Hera off. So now it's 2-0 on that point to flip it.
And presumably that wasn't strictly necessary. He could have just repositioned the second command on the point, outnumbered 2-1. But I get the desire. Doing this means that the second commander gets to take a shot, and they're much better at shooting than they're punching. Don't do that.
Are we getting? The second one. The second one is shooting Leia, I think.
Okay. Well,
I thought there was a revenge trigger happening, but no, I think they're shooting.
My God, look at this traffic jam.
Yeah.
There's so many models on the bottom right. And then between bottom right and center, it's like everyone except Callus.
Callus is literally the one guy off on that back point.
You guys got this. I believe in you.
I got your rerolls whenever you want your rerolls.
That 2-force though, those are expensive rerolls. But
that's true.
If you need it now.
So.
Oh, I think we had a wound there because Kanan's moving in more into the melee.
Yep.
I feel like someone once told me, is it melee or is it melee? I think it's meant to be melee, but...
Alright, well, we've all been saying it wrong.
Indeed. Thanks, English.
Yeah. But unless it came from the French, and that's why it's melee.
It could be. I mean, I think most words come from the French. So. Right,
I'm a scientist, not a language person.
What's your chemical?
Chemistry.
Chemistry. That's right. Yeah. I suddenly remembered you told me once.
Yep. Chemistry lab instructor.
I'm pretty sure I failed chemistry multiple times, so I'm just going to assume you're far smarter than I am.
Well, better at chemistry is what I'll say. People can be smart at different things.
There you go.
That's fine.
Actually, that's a good... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's the common answer I get a lot is, oh man, I was so bad at chemistry, or people who are like, oh yeah, chemistry was like really interesting, but I just didn't do that.
Mm-hmm. I am not sure what just happened. I see Chopper just got pushed south. Oh, I wonder if we had a situation of Kanan gets a revenge, wounds someone, and then his Kanan or Leia revenge shots. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it would have had to be Kanan shooting or hitting or whatever to get in order for it to hit Chopper.
Yeah, at that angle.
But yeah, Taka's getting his Shatterpoint now, so it's looking like
roll for priority.
Yeah,
it doesn't just stay with Callus the whole time. I mean, it might, but nope. To heck with it.
So
Taka. That's okay.
Because Arthur is 3 away from potential win here.
Let's see. Force refresh. Oh, he's in Saresu. Oh no, he's Shatterpointed, so that's probably what's. Shatterpoint might have just given him back a force.
Right. Yeah.
Or like a madman, he is in Saresu, and it's something else altogether.
Like a madman.
Yeah. He looks like he's in Pack Hunter because he's telling the commando to go take a dash.
Right.
I do like how we're essentially like CSI Shatterpoint because we're having like, based on what we're seeing here, it appears that he's in this stance and this is what the card is saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the thing about, because I changed the angle, I tilted it, which means that we can kind of see the struggle tracker. But before, I would be able to see most of the cards and be able to see like, oh, they're putting damage on this person, and it kind of looks like the outline of this stance.
Typically, you're not going to get everything. So,
but yeah,
I think this is a good compromise. Like, we can see the map, we can see the action, and we can see the score. So,
yeah, having the struggle tracker on screen is definitely nice, and also being able to see, make sure we can see their order cards, because then I'm not guessing who's activating. Unless it's the Shatterpoint.
You don't want to just keep playing CSI Shatterpoint and like.
I mean, it's definitely helped my learning. It's definitely been a learning process, or I get learning experience out of watching other people's games, because whether it's going through the abilities of stuff that I don't play, or seeing people do these different strategies, or like think of a different play pattern than I would think of, or even just seeing them pick a card and then going through the kind of exercise of going, okay, what would I do? It is like as close as you can get to practicing doing Shatterpoint without actually playing Shatterpoint.
Absolutely. Looks like we have a Shatterpoint on Hera.
Right.
I'm guessing because we just saw the commando get shoved off and then Hera get shoved up, which makes me think Hera must have just taken a shot. But to your point, I feel like obviously the best way to learn Shatterpoint is to play. But I think the second best way to learn Shatterpoint is to watch other people play.
Yeah.
And it does give you it's a really interesting breath of fresh air to see people try completely different lists that you might not have ever tried yourself. And especially, I really like it when I see lists that break convention. So I'm just going to run pure Mandalorians, or I'm going to run just pure whatever. And I think one of the things we saw at Adepticon was which Mark brought, which was mostly Mandos with
Dooku.
Yeah, which I think is what a neat idea. That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do coming out of our grand tournament, I do want to experiment more with 2 of this one thing. Say Talzin and Savage, and then throw in, say, like fill out the rest of the list with Empire or something, something along those lines.
An interesting like 4-2 sort of split.
Yeah.
When I first started playing Shatterpoint, this is a Matt Bronson list, but it was Dooku with almost all Seps, and then Obi-Wan and Rex.
Okay.
It was weird. But you still had some really interesting play there, where like you had some more reserve chicanery, because you had Obi-Wan, and like sure, maybe not everyone is getting to do the hunker for heals and dash trick, but still.
But they keep them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
It was what I like to call a really solid Thursday night list, and Thursday nights when we do our Shatterpoint events here, like our weekly Shatterpoint nights, and like it's just a great, that's a great time to just be like, oh, what sort of like silly jank is going to work this time.
Yeah. I'd also been experimenting with basically just putting rescue box with whatever. Like,
because Leia doesn't actually care. I mean, she's got some desire for rebels.
But it started off with trying to throw as much spies in the list, which I tried with Thrawn box, but Thrawn really wants Galactic Empire, I think.
Yes.
So I swapped that to Vader 2, and I actually really like that list. It's really fun. It's great on sabotage and shifting. Not as good on odds and first contact, I'd say, because I ran it up against Dooku Talzin a few times on both those missions leading up to the GT, and Dooku Talzin just won every time. But it's very fun, and I was playing against someone who hadn't played for a while, and threw rescue box with Padme's box.
Oh.
It was on Sabotage Showdown, and it was a very, very fun. It's a very fun list that I will try again. And just like tons of movement. There was an option to like Payday, Han, Chewie into Galactic Republic or Handmaidens to get extra movement out of that. They got wounded before that opportunity happened, but just like the idea of that was also kind of fun. I think Sabotage Showdown was probably their best mission, though. So I don't know how well that would do on the other missions, but I would definitely try that again.
What do we have happening here?
So Arthur's Kanan is going, I think. I think he's attacked.
I think that's Sabine.
That's Sabine getting pushed, because then he's mentioned a force push as well. So I think he's hitting. Because can he hit force push? No, not on Pack Leader. Or maybe he's he might be paying for force push. And that is going to end the game. That will be the win for Arthur.
Congratulations, Arthur. Well, obviously, congratulations, Arthur. Well played, Taka. I think, unfortunately, that Callus essentially got to sit on that back point for free, which is one of those things in Shatterpoint, right? Like, you really can't afford to let your opponent just get farm a free point every turn. I think there were a few turns there where they didn't roll for priority, so like that was an extra bit of hurt for Taka. Just like probably losing more points than he actually thought he was losing, which is unfortunate. But yeah, man, this mess in the middle and the bottom right that's rough.
Yeah, and this also supports my going theory that on this map you have to cross the board.
Yes,
like you have to be able to threaten that back point, because it sat empty for a few turns as well. So Sabotage Showdown, I feel like it's really important, and I think in my my like super close, I think the closest game of mine from the GT was against Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
We were on Sabotage Showdown. He was playing Mandos. I had Moff Thrawn, and I definitely overextended a bit in Struggle 1. I also made a mistake. I should have gone for his other back point, but I went for a side one, not realizing the number of bodies he had active, and didn't get that point. But anyway, I ran out of gas, and he took Struggle 1. Struggle 2 was a little dicey, actually. I had, but then I was able to push it and get that. So, but at that point, like early in Struggle 2, I was like, oh no, he could take Struggle 2. I really need to win this struggle for the sake of tiebreakers. Mm-hmm. So like, I gotta make sure I take this struggle, but I'm probably gonna lose the game. So got the struggle. It was a lucky flip though, because like you said, like you mentioned, you don't get a choice. Yeah. So it was across the middle. It was across the midline, and I got very lucky because it was Thrawn. I think it was a combination of like Thrawn reserves somebody and repositions. Mm-hmm. I got to 1 or 2 battle tactics, and then like a good, I think like Dark Troopers, which were able to wake up. So I like took the 3 points. Oof.
Starting out strong.
Yeah, and that's like he got first turn. I take my first turn, then I get them back because I think I used either the reposition or the battle tactic on. I think it was a battle tactic or reposition on Fifth Brother, battle tactic on Gideon. Mm-hmm. So 2 of the tiebreakers. And yeah, then I followed that up. Like he took points back, but then I followed that up with Gideon going, who was able to like long live the Empire, and then get himself back under the point, and finished off. But I realized at the end of that game that he hadn't actually crossed the midline.
Oof, that's rough.
And I think like even though Struggle 3 was
right
down the middle, I still think that it's really important because my Gideon was sitting on the back. Mm-hmm. And then, when Struggle 3 flipped, no one's engaged with him, stopping him from taking the advance, getting a full advance, or either on his activation or from the battle tactic. And so you're not restricting. Like I was free to do whatever I wanted with both him and the Dark Troopers because they were kind of back into the side still as well.
Yeah, and I think this game is again another good example of I think Arthur going into Struggle 2 having like both of his primaries on the bottom 2 points relative to like where the camera position is. Yeah. Like it really set him up for exactly what you're saying. Like we didn't get the Struggle 3 here, but because I think Taka didn't have anyone over the midline, he never threatened Arthur's back point. Mm-hmm. And he
had good board presence. Going into Struggle 2. Yeah, which is what you need in order to take it in 2 struggles.
Yeah, and Callus is a great backline holder. Like he's got some decent defense, but he's also got a range 5 gun, so he can probably still affect the middle of the board. None of his abilities are particularly reliant on being in the stuck in the middle. Yeah. So I think he gets away with like being able to sit on a back line and just pot shot whoever essentially gets into the middle if you need it. Yeah. And if you want, pay for rerolls. Right. I don't think that came up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So anyway, good job, Arthur.
Yes, good job.
and I mean, Taka didn't let him have it either. He fought very hard for both of those struggles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Made him work for it for sure.
Yeah.
But any other closing thoughts?
I definitely think not that we were really staring at the dice that much, but I feel like something that I was generally observing with this game is that much like most other games of Shatterpoint Shatterpoint's not a game of like running the tree. Shatterpoint is a game of all the tiny two hits through blocks, and making the best of just like, oh, I get a shove and 2 damage, I get a shove and a strain, I get a shove and a pin, and I think that like just looking at the mess in the lower right hand side here, I think it was a really cagey match where I think Arthur just managed to squeak out ahead by getting the few times that he got like just small results where he was able to shove someone off a point, and essentially like not like having that one free point throughout the whole game certainly really helped in struggle too. But I think Arthur and Taka both were very good at just sort of like, oh, I'm just going to like do enough of a shove to get the midpoint, I think was the one that I saw that for Taka come up a lot.
Yeah.
And like also some good plays there where, for instance, he was like getting Sabine onto the middle point while getting Hera to like come contest it. I think all of his shatter points were on Hera, come to think about it.
Could have been.
Yeah, Hera did a lot of activations here, and classic Hera, like she does a lot of work, especially if the game kind of revolves around her position. And yeah, I think Hera's one of those characters that gets slept on a lot unnecessarily because she's great.
So, what I was gonna say is that the difference between the two lists, right, is Leia Callus versus Hera Sabine. And both Leia and Callus have shoves on 1 and 2. While on Sabine, it's 2 and 3. Hera, she also has the 2 and 3 side, which I think he stayed on.
Yeah.
The other side is 4. But I don't think he was on difficult choices.
No.
But yeah, I find Sabine's attacks less reliable.
Yeah,
for sure. I tried her on TTS a couple times, so I haven't played her a ton. But I find that I can't reliably shove with her, or like, especially if you need 2 shoves.
I often feel like a broken record whenever I talk about a unit, and I'm like, oh yeah, they shove on 2 or they shove on 1, and that is like half of my decision about whether a unit is great is if they can shove on 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And like shoves on 3 are like the hallmark of a unit. I'm like, I don't like you.
Like all of the stormtroopers.
Like all the stormtroopers. Like it's really funny because like I think Bo-Katan is an incredible character, and
it's not a good example.
I just like that she can't shove till 3. And I'm just like, come on, Bo.
So many times, again, like another character that haven't played a ton. She, when I picked her up again recently, and every time 2 steps, no shove.
Yeah.
So yeah, another good example there, and also why I like ISBs. Shove on 2. So they're much better than. I mean, I've seen more love for them recently. More people speaking up and being like, "No, ISBs they're fine. They're 3 points. They're fine." Yeah, but I think initially there was a lot of hate for the ISBs, which was unwarranted, I thought. But
I find that generally when a new unit gets announced and there is sort of like not immediate like love for them, it is almost always because someone has done the quick math of like, I added up all the damage icons in the tree, and that damage number is less than what I want. Yeah. Like, this character good because they can do 10. This character bad because they can only do 7. And it's like, I mean, maybe you're just the sort of player where you're constantly running your tree, but that's not me. I usually don't.
Yeah. I mean, I look at ISBs and I'm like, okay, shove on 2. I can probably do that. So that's what I plan around.
Exactly.
And then the number of times I get 4, and I'm like, oh, I can actually take the pin on step 2 and the shove on step 4 and do what I want to do, except now they're also pinned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's why I'll probably be putting that spy list back on the table.
Yeah,
in the near future.
I absolutely think that we're certainly going to see a lot of spy lists, especially with Cassian, whenever he does deign to make it out. I was going to say, like, so obviously Arthur won the game. If you were Taka, or if you were going to give advice to Taka for this game, what are your standout points for like how he might have turned this one around?
Well, I think, like I kind of said, I think there was an opportunity to push Kanan forward rather than bringing him back. And then that puts him into a position where now Kanan is threatening Arthur's back points.
Yeah.
And Arthur has to do something about that rather than coming back and being part of the big scrum there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of looking for, and I think, like, I know Hera can have big turns, and Shatterpointing her, getting for free all the heals and conditions and stuff. But I think might have been a little too automatic with that choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Rather than seeing like, okay, who can run to that back point
exactly,
and that sort of thing.
I think there might have been a world to make that call in like Shatterpoint Hera if you are using her I can't remember what the ability's called because I'm old.
Oh yeah, we will not stand down.
We will not stand down.
Yeah.
And repositioning someone onto that back point, because without that, I think you lack the movement. I think the other thing that I would have probably suggested, in addition to like sort of what we've mentioned here of like getting someone to that back point earlier, is sort of riffing off what you were saying there. I think one of the dangers of having Kanan stuck in that melee in the bottom right is, like, especially being a pack hunter, you kind of want to be able to shoot anyone, whereas if he's the guy who's contesting that giant scrum, you're probably taking your revenge attacks against people who are there, and maybe they're not the ideal targets. Whereas if it was just like a rotation where like Hera's on the bottom right and Kanan's in the middle, then you've got more play where it's like, hey, maybe I jump towards the top left, or I'm like offering some good shots into the back right, as opposed to like poor Kanan being stuck.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing with these. Like Kanan and even Mando, I find as well.
Yes.
Like you can get them stuck where it's like, okay, I don't want
I don't want
to move him
abandon the point
off of the point. So then that really dampens what the revenge trigger is doing.
Yeah, I do think one of the other things talking about list differences here. And like, this is not me saying that like that Taka needed to bring a different list. I think Pure Spectres is a super solid choice, and Pure Spectres, bring Commandos. I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't really see Zeb on the table that much, but I do think something that Arthur had in his favor is, okay, cool. When you wound one of the Spectres in Taka's list, the most that Kanan's going to do is like maybe he gets a wound in return. Whereas I think for Arthur, he does match you 1-for-1 on that front, and potentially he goes 2-in-1, right? Like you wound one of his guys, and if that person's a Spectre, you might be taking 2 revenge attacks back. And it's very hard to get value out of like, I do one thing, you do 2, and like the economy of actions doesn't really benefit you in that case. So like very very solid list choice, I think, from Arthur, of like just having the potential for double revenge, and even if it's just a single revenge where it's like Leia's the one doing all the shooting, Kanan is still running around healing people, which is also super super solid.
So with that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Lee, for joining me to commentate and
my pleasure.
Get some kind of extra discussion going around, going on during this battle report. And subscribe for more. Also, check out my Patreon, which hopefully I get this out while the giveaway is still happening. If you become one of the tiered level members of my Patreon, I've got from this GT the set of foil order cards from season 1 of the GT season to do a giveaway with. So check that out, and see you all next time.
Bye.